Hi, welcome to Table Talk with Navin right here on SVC Media with my guest Randall Ford, also known as Chunky and Bass God. Ford, Mr. Ford.
Good morning, good morning.
How are you doing, sir?
Fine. I'm great this day.
Nice,
How are you
man.
doing?
Hey, cool. I'm trying to do this program here, coming along nice and everything so far
Nice,
with SVC Media. Randall, so I should say Randall.
Yeah.
Tell me about yourself. Tell me what inspired you to become a sound engineer.
Well, I was a DJ when I left school.
Mm-hmm.
I was like in 1995. I started DJing in a nightclub up by me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always interested in hooking up sound systems because the guy had his own sound system.
Right.
So we used to play in parties in his father's nightclub.
Mm-hmm.
So he had two clubs, so we used to constantly be transferring the system from club to club and depending on the size of the event. And I was always interested in hooking up the equipment, right? So after I DJed for a few years, after a while I just felt that I could do something more. Always felt like I needed more. And at the same time while I got this feeling, I saw the Ministry of Tertiary Education was doing a course in sound engineering at exactly at the Rentham Sound Company.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So I decided better apply for it because I wasn't doing anything besides DJing because DJing was my passion.
Right.
So I applied for it and lo and behold, sure enough I didn't get through.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get through the course. So my two neighbors, for some reason, without even knowledge, they applied for the same thing and they got through. But they never did any kind of work with DJing or sound system before.
Mm-hmm.
And they got through. And I, who had all the years with hooking up systems or whatever, didn't get through. So like apparently they were just like picking from a random list at that time.
Right.
And lo and behold, like 2 weeks after I got a call because two people dropped out of the course. So they called me in to come and start the course. I literally started the course 2 weeks late.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I was like playing catch up in the whole class. And just being in that environment made me more and more want to get into it. You know, and the teacher, which was Mr. Frank Agarat, he, just the way he taught the class, it gave me the interest and, you know, say, yeah, this is what I want to do. So that's basically my start into sound engineering. And after the course, I think I applied for it like a month after. And I was called in during the carnival time to start working there.
Well, when you started in Rentham, what you started as?
Actually, I started from the basics. Loading trucks, toting boxes, pulling cables. I wouldn't even work the job. I would come back to pack up the equipment after. That's what I started doing there.
All right. Now, how long are you in this industry for now?
I started in 2002. Yeah.
Wow. And you tune sound system for sound companies.
Yeah.
How's that working out for you?
Good.
Give us a little
Because I would tell you that 95% of not only sound companies but DJs, people who have equipment in Trinidad, have good equipment. The problem is the application. The way they use it, the way they hook it up, the way they wire it, the tuning of the systems.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you might hear somebody's system and it's not sounding good and you tell yourself, nah, that system isn't good. No, nothing is wrong with the system. It's the way it is utilized is the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do, I take my years of experience when I go by someone and I don't just tune systems. I run through entire sound systems to make sure the system is optimal. Because me tuning a processor and the box is not wired properly, or the cable is not wired properly, or the amp rack's not wired properly, is not going to make any sense. You're not going to get the best performance until I actually run through that entire system to make sure everything is working properly.
All right. Because a lot of persons are rated. We have over 64 sound companies in Trinidad and Tobago.
This might be a controversial statement, but in terms of actual sound companies, for me personally, I would only say about 4.
Name the 4. You're going into some bacchanal, you know.
I would say Rentham,
Right.
MSI, Johnny Q, Dexter Samai.
4.
Yeah. Let me say a little more than 4 because you have Victor Donowa, you have Rennie, these are people that I would consider official sound companies.
Right.
Because, and I will say why I would make that statement, although it's controversial. A lot of people buy equipment and call themselves sound companies. To me, that is not what makes a sound company. What makes a sound company is your technical staff. Having all the best equipment and nobody to operate it, or nobody who's knowledgeable about this equipment, I would not consider you a sound company. You know, so you could buy the best of boards, the best of PA systems, and when I come with my band, you can't assist me in no way whatsoever. You're not a sound company. You need to have technical staff, the most important part.
So we're trying to say that have men who have sound system, but they have DJ mentality.
Yeah, because a lot of them were DJs who decided, okay, I could buy a mixing board and I could buy a snake, and I could buy 2 microphones and I'm a sound company. So the title sound company is spread a lot in Trinidad, like very widely. So you would see someone who might own 2 cell port monitors and a wireless mic and a mixing board, and he will put the title X, Y, and Z sound company. But I don't think that makes you a sound company.
Oh, okay. So what about the ones who out there feel that what are your requirements of equipment? What do you require for people to use as per for the processors and the equipment that is required for a proper sound system?
Well, almost anything could work, but you have to know your level, right? And what I mean by that is, if you have, let's just say, for instance, let's call a number, you have a 16-channel board. You can't take a work for a band that requires 40 channels when you only have a 16-channel board, right? So sometimes, as I say, the equipment is not much of an issue. The problem is the knowledgeable staff. Having
To operate the equipment.
to operate that said equipment. Because, all right, I could come now, let's just say I have millions of dollars. I could go and invest in sound systems. But that doesn't mean that I know about it. Or that doesn't mean the people around me know about it. So I could have 10 people around me, and yes, they could load the boxes, they could throw the boxes up in the air or whatever, but do they know about this equipment? Right? And that is what makes the deciding factor between what I would say is a sound company and a DJ or somebody who just buy equipment.
What is your favorite line of boxes, subs especially?
Well, my thing might be a bit biased because during my career, I was mostly surrounded by JBL boxes.
Right.
Right? So yes, I might have worked on different PA systems, but mainly it's JBL boxes. So my ear will always be tuned to a JBL box because that is a song that I know. Right? They have PA systems that I've worked on with the band that I work with, which sound exceptional. No problems with them whatsoever. But again, if you go into mix a band, you have to know what system you're walking into and adapt your ear to that system, or adapt your mix, I should say, to that system.
But how can you adapt? What is the skills in adapting to that system?
Listen.
And what are you listening for?
All right. So if I working on a PA system and I realize this PA system does not have much sibilance over, let's call a figure and say 12K. I'm not going to boost all that 12K in my mix because I know the PA system can't deliver it.
Right.
And I might quicker end up damaging the system, trying to force what the system can deliver. So your approach, you're walking to a new system, listen to the system, even if it's a DJ playing, talking, if you get the chance to pick up a microphone and talk in the system, listen to what the system is doing and then adapt your mix to suit.
Wow. And there's very few men know about that.
Yeah, well, unfortunately.
But you ever think about opening a career where you teach engineers, upcoming engineers?
Right now we're in discussions with one of the major sound companies now to start doing something along that angle. Part of the problem before would have been sitting down in a classroom and you're teaching, but you don't have the equipment in front of you to demonstrate exactly what you're teaching. So now that we have this major sound company on board, because he and all wants his staff to be more educated, in using the equipment. So we're gonna open up that avenue as soon as possible.
That's good. Because it have a lot of youths out there who also wants to get into the song
Yes.
in the
industry,
industry. But the problem is that we haven't, and I experienced this before, is that when they're going to take courses, they're getting the book work, but they're not getting the practical work,
Yeah.
which is the experience on
Yeah.
the outside. So it causing some problems in terms of where we're getting qualified engineers with no experience.
Well, I kind of beg to differ in the sense that when you come out of a course, you're not a qualified engineer.
That's my point.
Because what happens is that in a class, they can teach you all of song engineering in 2 to 3 months. Now, part of the problem is a lot of people attend these classes and want to get on mixing boards.
They're excited too.
First thing they do, I want to operate the board. I want to operate the board. But there's so much things you need to learn before you get to the point of operating that mixing board. I think I was in Rentham probably like about 8 years before I actually got on a mixing board to do anything. All that time I was learning everything before. Alright? So there are a lot of things you need to learn before you get to turn knobs on that mixing board. And that is problem with a lot of classes that we have here. Now, there is one class that is by Whitetip where the teacher actually goes into detail from the start. So he teaches you everything you need to know before you get to this mixing board. Now, his class is not oriented on operating boards. His class is on knowledge of sound and proper use of song equipment. Right? So that is where I think people need to start, and then you can further go. So what we want to do with the same sound company I was talking about is not every student could join, but students who came out of a basic sound engineering class have the avenue to join this class. So it's a format. So you're going from step to step to step. Because if we let everybody join this class, you'll get a lot of people who would not understand what we're talking about. Because in this class, we're not catering to people who now start.
They cater for someone who have
Who
semi-experience.
have a little bit of experience and just want to further the knowledge. So like students who coming out of that Whitetip course, as I said, they would have an easier way to transition to the advanced course.
Nice. Okay. Next question is that you have done so many work for. I have recommended people to you also. A few of my guys,
Yeah.
and the feedback I get from them is that this is the feedback. The man knows what he's doing. He real good, and the system sound more impressive than it was sounding before.
Yeah.
Right? You use programs and RTA. Not everybody don't know what RTA means, and they don't understand the processing programs. Can you explain that to the public who is viewing this program, what it is, what RTA is?
RTA is real-time analyzer. Now, all that is giving you a visual representation of what the system sounds like. Right? If you put up that RTA, it's all about how you interpret the data that is being shown to you. So that same program that I use, a lot of people ask me to teach them how to use the program. Part of the problem is I would tell them, learn the physics of sound engineering first before you learn that program. Because that program could show you things and you will interpret it the wrong way. And you do more damage than good. So the way I liken that program to everybody is like, all right, you're a mechanic. That program is your screwdriver and your crescent wrench. If you can't fix a car, that program is not going to help you.
Okay.
So if you don't know about sound system, about different aspects of sound systems, having that program is more detrimental to you than anything else. So it's not the end all, because yes, I might use a flat response microphone and things like that, but there's nobody at that venue in the party who has a microphone. Everybody has the same thing you have, which is a left ear and a right ear. So all the thing with the program is good, yes, but your ear is the most important factor that you're going to use. That program is just a tool to help you do your job.
Right.
But you have to understand sound in the first place. So as I said, my base in sound is always a JBL tone. So I will always look close to that tone to achieve within the parameters of the sound system.
All right. We're going to take a short break. I'll be right back with Table Talk with Navin with my guest, Rondell Ford. Rondell Ford, I have it correct?
Yes,
Rondell Ford.
Rondell.
Yeah. Table Talk with Navin will be right back after these messages.
Sound Visual Concepts prioritizes delivering top-tier entertainment and informative experiences globally. Their dedicated mission aims to create an inclusive platform for a diverse audience. The focus remains on engaging with viewers and listeners, ensuring their satisfaction. Sound Visual Concepts values audience feedback and incorporates it into their content development. Viewers and listeners are at the core of all decision-making at Sound Visual Concepts. Their approach revolves around delivering top-notch content across various platforms. Sound Visual Concepts, your online high-quality entertainment television station.
Hi, and welcome back to Table Talk with Navin with my guest, Rondell Ford. Rondell was talking about with the sound in terms of the engineering. There cannot be, in order to be an engineer, to tune a system, you have to pass through the physics, you have to pass through the experience of being a sound engineer first before you become a
system technician.
The question is that I didn't ask you, and I should have asked you, is what is your position now? What is your job portfolio? What is your position?
Yeah. Well, I have different aspects. I do system technician work, which is tuning and optimizing of sound systems, and I also do sound engineering, which is mixing bands.
Band engineer?
Yeah, band engineer for a band.
What band engineer? What band you mix with?
Nadia Batson.
Oh, is you just have Nadia voice sounds so sweet on the microphone?
Well, I hope so.
Yeah, because I know we go come to the holding of the mic just now, because we are our next topic to important to let people know how to hold a microphone.
Yeah.
You understand? Because I see a post up a picture with a barbed wire around a mic and say hold this. Yeah, hold it.
Yeah.
Well, how can you explain to people again what's the proper way of holding a microphone? You could use the microphone on the desk as a demo.
When you hold a microphone, you try to hold the stalk of the microphone, right? Not the capsule.
Okay.
When you hold the capsule, that's tantamount to covering your mouth. If the song needs to enter the microphone in order for it to work, why would you cover the microphone?
Question. That is a question I ask everybody.
Now, when you cover this microphone, what you do, you allow certain frequencies to boost. So you'll get a boost like around 315, 500, 1K. So those are frequencies that we normally try to pull out.
Right.
But by doing this, you cause those frequencies to increase. And the mic takes on a term that we call corky. Right? So you go now, if the engineer doesn't know what he's doing now, he goes on the board and he try to pull out those frequencies to achieve a sound. You're also destroying the sound, the natural sound of the microphone and the natural sound of the monitor.
Right.
When the easier thing to do is hold the stalk of the microphone. So we don't introduce those frequencies into the microphone.
Is there anything that they could design that to prevent persons from holding
Yeah. This artist actually is Snoop Dogg. His team built a gold and platinum thing that comes over the microphone like this. So he can't hold the top of the microphone. He has to hold the stalk. But to him, it's bling. Covered in diamonds and they mark up Snoop Dogg in front of it.
But it's a purpose.
But there's a purpose to it. The purpose is so that he can't hold the capsule.
Now, what are the required microphones to use for singers?
It depends on the voice. So most of the time in Trinidad, we use Shure, Sennheiser, or AKG. The industry standard for years have always been Shure, but Sennheiser is great. Sennheiser has some top class microphones, so does AKG. But you have to spend the money to get it.
Right.
We have a saying where we say you're Shure with Shure. And it says that you could drop a microphone and you could pick it up and you're almost sure that it's going to work.
Right.
And the quality is not going to change.
We experience that.
Yeah. But all those three brands are the major brands that people use now. But again, it depends on the voice of the artist. If the artist has a high-pitched voice, you don't want to use a mic that has a high-pitched boost. because all these mics come with a graph. Right? So you don't want to introduce certain things into the system that you're trying to pull out.
Right.
Because if the artist naturally has a boost of 5K in their voice, why would I want a microphone that has a 5K boost in the capsule? That is, I want to take that out.
So how do you determine which shoreline product to use?
Research. Before you buy a product, and there's not with Shure alone, any product, before you buy a product, you have the advantage of using the internet. You go online and you research these products. Make sure it's useful for what you want to do. You know? So.
Okay. And what speakers we talking about? We're bass, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're very talented with the bass line, and your liner is. You're talented all over around. No matter what you put it to do, you're doing it. You can get it done. We have confidence in that. We have no negative things to say about that. But everybody in the sound industry like to go for bass. And the type of men will build their own speaker boxes to their own specs and design to accommodate a certain type of bass level or a bass frequency or a bass tone. My question is, for live band, because not everybody, people like to there's this boom 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 noise, right? That is going on a demo here. And people doesn't understand there's two different sound quality and subs with a live band and a track and a play track. What is the advice of persons out there to let it fly out? Should they build their boxes to suit their standards, and when they put it on a band, it sounds totally off the scale? How we can educate them to the right specs or stuff baseline?
To be honest, once your sub built properly, it's supposed to be able to play anything, whether DJ or band. Because remember, all a band literally doing is replicating the DJ music, the artist track. So your sub's supposed to be able to play anything. But you might have subs now designed to the style of music that you play. So if your type of music is country and western, you don't need a sub that have a sort of rumbly bass line. You know, you need a smoother type sub. If you're doing jazz, you need a smoother type sub. When I get to soca, I need a sub that can handle the fast pace of soca. But whether it's fast pace from a band or fast pace from a track, the sub's supposed to be able to play both sides. Because sub frequencies are not that wide. You know, so it's supposed to be able to play anything.
So what boxes do you recommend that they should use for subs, for baseline? And do you think that is, that I know you said that is according to how you build a box to play at, right? I agree with you 100%. But do you think some men out there should use brand name subs?
That's what you can afford. If you can afford the brand name sub, yeah, I would say go for it, because there's years of research and development that went into making the sub. If you can't, and you could only afford a lower model sub, go for it. Just understand that where the $10 sub could reach, well, I should say where the $100 sub could reach, the $10 sub can't reach. But it's what you could afford. You know? I wouldn't necessarily tell a man you have to get this type of sub, or you have to get that type. But you know what you want to achieve. So like sometimes people will come to me, like when I go to people to do systems, and they would say, I want my bass line to sound like a Rent and Bone. And I would look at them and say, how much you pay for it?
I saw Master accent. That's why subs could sound like Rent and Bone.
Who's that?
I remember I saw accent.
Yeah.
I used to ask him that question.
Yeah.
At first I said, well, Chunky, you think Edric subs could sound like Rent and Bone? You think we could? You think that any of them subs coming close to it? But that's a question everybody does ask.
Everybody will ask.
Now, what's your response to that, boy?
Well, the reality is, if you look at what a Rentam subs, when he bought that sub, might be about 9,000 US for the price of the sub.
Right.
Whereas you might have paid 4,000 TT to build and load your sub. So you can't expect $9,000 worth of sound out of a 4,000 TT box.
But is it true? Is it true that his subs and the super subs that he has, that everybody trying to get, is it specifically built and designed for him to use?
What happened there was the original one, which was the 4880A. No, the 4880 that he bought. And when the guy from JBL came to Trinidad, and he heard the kind of bass that we were looking for, he said that he was going to design a sub to suit us. And then he called them up to hear the sub, and they bought it. So it's a worldwide sub, yes, but I think the inspiration was Trinidad and Tobago.
And we are the only country, the only island that is ready go all out on bass, eh?
Yeah.
Other
But
countries,
even like we focus on bass, but the reality is you're supposed to have a well-balanced system. Now again, yes, people rush to that baseline Rentham have, but Rentham has the top end to match their bass.
right.
So you wouldn't hear PA from them and the bass overpowering the tops. So no matter how much bass you have, your system's supposed to be balanced. You know? So like, yes, I call myself Bass God, but that name only came about literally as a joke. Because Drake used to call himself Six God.
Right.
So I just sit up over there and I decided to call myself Bass God. So there's nothing special about it to say.
Well, I always thought somebody give you that name, you know.
That name came about because Drake had the name Six God.
Yeah.
So I decided to call myself Bass God. That is it. Yeah?
But that name stick on you for
Yeah, the
years.
name stick. Yeah, because that's the name I pushed as
And how they
my
get the name?
business.
Who give it the name Chunky?
Chunky, the owner of Rentham.
Davey.
Yeah. Now that the funny part, as you can see, I'm a big guy, and everybody thinks that's how I got the name. But the name have nothing to do with my size. Is when I started working there, after a few years, we always used to order kamwa. And when I ordered, my order was always chunky vegetables. so the name was actually Chunky Vegetables. And then they just dropped the chunky. Yeah. So the name had nothing to do with the size.
Who's this boss? Want to give you a name? Yeah, I understand they learn from Mr. Frank. So
Yeah.
How I see you're trying to follow his footsteps and what he's doing
Yeah.
right now. But what it is that he did that inspire you?
Boy, everything is everything from his knowledge, the way he approached situations, his humbleness, everything. That man's so powerful that you can learn from that man without him teaching you. You understand what I mean by that?
Yeah, on the field.
Just being around him and watching how he operates, watching his approach to the job, you could learn. You know? And he always inspired me, and he always taught me not to depend on him to teach me everything. He always used to say, hey, you have the internet there, go and learn about the equipment, whatever. He always said, if I tell you something, don't just take my word for it. Go and research it. He said, if I'm wrong, come back and tell me I'm wrong, and two of us will move forward and we'll be more educated.
Right.
Of course, he was never wrong in what he told me. But
he's give you an option
yeah,
to choose
yeah, he said,
to prove him wrong for
yeah,
what he inspired, what he's teaching you. So, good.
Yeah, so that thing, everything I learned from this guy, you know, like that people would have come into Rentham, like customers or whoever, and sit down and speak to him, and not even realize that this is Frank they're talking to. Because I had the time I was working there, one of my partners came to check me there, and he sat down talking by the table with us. And when he leaving, he said, he regret not getting to meet Frank. So I look at him and I say, so the guy who was saying nobody that's talking to you, who you think that was? And he looked at me like, that's Frank? I say, yeah.
Yeah, because he just like a normal worker.
Yeah, and the humbleness in which he spoke to the guy.
Yeah.
It wasn't an air like, you know, I am Frank and I can talk to anybody I want. The humbleness in which he spoke to the guy is what the guy was amazed at.
Right.
You know?
And another something, you not too far from him. Because you just humble, you speak to people genuine, you tell them, and you be honest with them.
Now, at times, like even in speaking, I might get aggressive in my tone. But again, that is something I think I took from Frank, because if Frank pissed about a situation, he will bite off your head, but it doesn't mean anything. Because in 5 minutes time, he'll come back and talk to you normal.
Like nothing never
Like nothing happened. But just in the spur of the moment sometimes.
But I notice that's a normal thing with every song, man. Because you're working amongst the sound industry. Even your own colleague, you only go fall out over something that he did wrong or something I did wrong, we cuss out each other and stuff. And next 5 minutes, we're going to get something to eat. We're normal.
That's the thing in the song industry.
It don't have that war amongst each other.
That's the thing in this industry. We try not to hold grudges with things like that. Because sometimes you might have just approach me at the wrong moment. So sometimes I operate in a board and things might be going too right. And somebody come and ask you a question and you snap at them. And then sometimes you have to catch yourself and tell them, all right, hold on, I will answer you just now.
No, let me tell you, they snap at me the same way too. Because I like to approach him and a question that I know he's not in a position to answer because he's focusing and concentrating. We're going to be right back after these messages with Table Talk with Navin with our guest Randall Ford. We will be right back.
Sound Visual Concepts prioritizes delivering top-tier entertainment and informative experiences globally. Their dedicated mission aims to create an inclusive platform for a diverse audience. The focus remains on engaging with viewers and listeners, ensuring their satisfaction. Sound Visual Concepts values audience feedback and incorporates it into their content development. Viewers and listeners are at the core of all decision-making at Sound Visual Concepts. Their approach revolves around delivering top-notch content across various platforms. Sound Visual Concepts, your online high-quality entertainment television station.
Hi, welcome back to SVC Media Table Talk with Navin with Randall Ford. Randall, we talk about the sound system and stuff and things, but we're going to the car show aspect of things here, right? We have men out here in car shows that feel that they could go up against sound system and who feel a louder than the sound system and stuff. I know it's different applications, right? But you know you change into that field now where you make your balance of doing both pro audio and car audio. So how's that working out for you in terms of the professional car audio?
I don't have a problem. Everything works out great because I managed to stagger my time between both. You know, as you say, some of the guys you say who feel they could go up against sound systems. To be honest, some of them actually could. Because they use a lot more power towards their speaker because they play for a shorter period of time, right? So,
but when they talk about power, right? I experience that these car men using Krong amps.
No,
I see an installation was done recently where they use XDI Krong amps and they use converters and stuff. I think that is.
But I haven't seen that locally.
Yes.
I haven't seen that locally.
Ask your boy, we name Marshall. Is Marshall? Mitchell is Kelshell.
Well, I don't know. I haven't seen that.
In Arima.
I know they use like some processors and like some speakers.
No, I see they had a van that he was installing music and doing services. When all the amplification, I seen Krong XDI and I said, but wait now, 2400 watts Krong and seen 3600. I said, Lord.
But what kind of inverters they using for that?
I don't know.
Where?
I know these guys come up with these things
unless
now.
you have a generator running, so.
They had to have some form of converter that could stabilize the current to 12 volts.
Well, that's as far as I know. Well,
because, I mean, the car industry...
I've seen vehicles in the States do it, but they have a generator hooked up to the vehicle.
That is not car audio.
So...
That is pro audio into car audio.
That is where the industry is now. Because if you look at it, the processors now is not crossovers anymore.
No. It's a processor.
Live sound processors.
Yeah.
The speakers, all the mid speakers, the mids and the horns, not 6x9s and tweeters anymore. It's BNC 10-inch, RCF 10-inch. It's live sound speakers. The only speakers that maintain car is the bass speakers. And then some of them even so have live sound.
I saw a L300 panel van with BNC 18-inch speakers.
18-inch, yeah. I have done some. So the whole system is literally live sound speakers that they put in a car.
So how that you have a lot of work going on in your hands with all these installations.
Yeah. Well, I don't do installations.
Yeah, let the
I
person.
do tuning.
Is the tuning?
For cars, yeah. I don't do installations. Because the installation takes time and I don't have the time to do that.
Wow.
Yeah. Between all the things that I have going on, I don't have time to do installation. So I basically leave it up to installers to do what they have to do.
Right? I don't know how this industry is going to change. That's why you're going to have men high-end vehicles to play in parties.
That might be too efficient because of the...
Consistent.
When our party starts, you don't want to have to shut off the party to charge back your batteries.
Yeah. I was told by Edric that in a way that some companies change their speakers after every concert. Because the speakers are designed to play for a certain amount of period of time, and after that you change them. Is that true?
No, I wouldn't say they change the speakers after every concert. What would happen? Sometimes they might go out on a tour. Now that tour might be 100 and something cities that they're doing, and after the tour they might sell the system because they have no use for it again. Right? So that is all they would do, but they wouldn't really change those speakers after every event, because remember sometimes they go in from state to state. They don't have time to change those speakers. They would sell the system after the whole tour. Yeah. And it's not because there's anything wrong with the system. It's a good system. It's just that they probably don't have no use for it after the tour. They're not going out on a tour for the next 3-4 years.
So they don't believe in putting equipment in warehouse and store it there for no reason?
No, they have companies that will store equipment. But if a band buys a system to go out on a tour, after the tour they're not going to keep it because of no use to them after the tour.
Not like in Trinidad.
Yeah, that would have been years ago. Now, these bands will just go to international song companies like Clear Brothers, 8-Day Songs, Apex in Canada, and they will rent an entire song system.
To follow them?
To follow. So after the job, they don't care what you do with the song system.
Once the song in the way they want it.
Yeah.
Oh boy. That because I know what they say in Trinidad, every band have a song company that follows them everywhere around.
Well, what would be the case, again, as I said before, where song companies is concerned in Trinidad, I don't think there's that much at a certain level. So the bands will always tend to go to the song company who's giving them the best product.
Well, when they talk about the best product, I have a serious problem. Where people is not giving song companies respect in terms of the prices that they charge. Because you know the kind of equipment I'm having. And you know the price you will charge to provide a service. Because of the professional engineers, the technicians, and the quality system, and the quality sound that he give out and stuff. And a man will, let me say, rent or let me say a song company, we talk about song company. Like Johnny Q one, the ones listed in your paper, as I agree. 2,500. A rental for, let me say, a 4x4 sound system. 2 tops, 2 subs. Either side, a 4x4. So like 8 bottoms, 8 tops. And next man will come and charge $1,000. Right? But we're not song as good as this man. This is what licking up the song company these days, you know. What's your take on that?
Well, again, that's basically what it is. And it all boils down to the promoter. In the sense that very few promoters care about the actual sound of the event. All they care about is what the door sales are, or the ticket sales, or the profit is at the end of the event. I can't slide them because you're in the business to make money.
Yeah.
So I can't slide you. But at the same time, you owe it to your patrons to make sure you have a good sound. Alright? Now, you might get the smaller guys who will give you a good sound. Yes, they might have a good sound. But then you're hiring a band that the smaller guys cannot fulfill the rider obligations. Now you're asking the band now to cut back everything and work with equipment that they don't work with in order for this own company to do the job so you could make a profit. So the people who losing is the band. Right? So when I come to you and I say I need this type of mixing board, I need these amount of DIs, I need these type of microphones, and you telling me I can't get this, I could only get X, Y, and Z, which now you devaluing my performance, right? You're putting a risk on my show because you're giving me equipment that is lesser to what I am accustomed using to put forward my show. Remember, we look at it like a man singing in a fete. No, it's a show I am putting forward. It's a production. In order for me to have this production, I need this type of equipment, because my job as an engineer is to make sure my band sounds the same wherever I go. And the only way for me to do that is to keep a standard with the type of equipment that I use. I don't want to do a job and you hear, okay, the band sound real good tonight, but last night I didn't find they were sounding so good enough. And the problem is the type of equipment that you want to give me to use, you know? But from the promoter aspect is, boy, if I hire the top sound companies, I have to pay X amount of price. But it's a two-edged sword. So sometimes, most of the time, the banders have to make compromises for everybody else. Yeah.
So you see, there's a lot of work and effort that's put out of these things. And people doesn't understand that, because I remember getting a call for a job and I told the client $2,500. Client said, no, I thought I'd do for $800. I have a serious problem with that. Because the fail to realize transport and labor alone is over $800.
Like, for me, how I tune systems, if you call me and say, well, what's the price? And I give you the price and you tell me, well, I can't afford that. Not being arrogant or anything, I will just tell you, well, I think you need to look for someone else.
Right.
Because as far as I am concerned, when you want to buy equipment, you don't ask for any discounts.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So even like in the car audio world, it will have people running sometimes over close to $300,000 worth of equipment in the vehicle. And when they come to me to tune it, you want to ball and beg for price. But when you're spending your $300,000, you didn't ball and beg for price. You pay your money. You know, so
that is a serious challenge.
So
because
it's up to me to keep my standard and say, no, I'm not working for that kind of money.
yeah.
This is what I am worth. So I'm not telling you have to choose me to do your stuff, but if you choose me to do your stuff, this is what I'm charging. You know?
How that is reflect on you in terms of people when you give them that era of answer.
When I tell them that, you know, some people will think, all right, no problem, and they will go to somebody else, which is okay. As I say again, you don't have to come by me.
And if they come back to you and say, boy, I think I had to pay you so and so. No.
Well, then okay, now we could work.
After you had to fix somebody else's job, that does win.
Now, if I have to go and fix somebody else's mistakes, it's now going to cost you more. Because now I'll have to tell you why. And I will show you why it's going to cost you more now. Because I have to undo what somebody did.
Right.
You know? So sometimes, even though I just tune vehicles, sometimes I go to people now and when I realize how the vehicle is wired now, I have to change the wiring in the vehicle because the wiring makes no sense.
Do your programmer settings and then you just use determine a fault in your wiring and stuff? They could tell you that there's a problem with the wiring or something, or you're just scared?
No, what I do, when I tune a system or a vehicle, I make sure, especially in a vehicle, I make sure that the installer is there while I do the tuning. And he has to explain to me how this vehicle is wired before I start to tune. The last step is tuning. As I say, these things have to be wired and playing properly. So when he explains, then I will tell him, okay, no, don't do this, do it this way, do it that way, whatever. When he makes the changes, then we start to tune. Yeah.
All right, cool. What was your take on the future, boy? What is your plans? You're getting older, we're all getting older. So we know we have a stage in life that we'll have to come to the end of certain things because you don't have that energy anymore.
Yeah.
You might have to take a different step in life. So what is a different step in life for your future?
Well, after this is basically teaching is what I'm going to get into. Yeah?
Well, I understand you mentioned earlier on that you
like
have
a lot of people
plans.
ask me in the earlies, so why do a class and teach? And the thing was, the man mentioned time.
Yeah.
Now, I worked at Rentham for over 20 something years. I didn't have time to teach at that point in time. So now, as I'm doing bands and cardio and things like that, a lot of times I'm traveling with the band. When I'm here, I'm dealing with cardio. So the time is still not there to dedicate myself to teaching.
Right.
You know? So, I mean, yes, I could pass along information along the way, but to sit down in a classroom 24/7, now is not the time, because I am now, as far as I'm concerned, start to explore a different aspect of sound engineering where traveling is concerned.
Right.
Because as I say, most of the time I was at Rentham working. So they might leave the country like 3 times in a year or something, whatever. We in February now, I already left the country like 5 times a day. Yes, and so the time still doesn't facilitate the teacher. Now, what we're doing with the sound company aspect is more than one of us. So, who are going to be the teachers? So if I have to travel, the other 2 guys
So you have somebody
take
to
up the
hold the
slack.
fort.
Isn't?
And who you have recommended to be at your side in the teaching aspect?
It's good. Well, we're gonna be doing different segments of sound engineering. So it's gonna be me, Marlon Jackson. He mixes Dylan Adan. Kelly Shaw Marshall. He was the engineer at Rentam alongside me. He works with Buju Banton as well. Hopefully we could get Nigel Brizan, who's KES engineer, and he's also the guy who teaches the sound engineering course right now at Whitehead that I was telling you about. Hopefully we could get him to come in on a few days to give some advice. But as I say again, that course is geared more towards people who are already engineering. So
Somebody who have who in it, but they want to advance
they
themselves.
advance themselves. You know, because we realize now that we in the field around a lot of people that certain techniques that they see people using is sometimes is wrong, and sometimes is techniques that would have been done years ago, but people don't do that anymore because we understand new technology, we understand more things.
There's more instruments added onto our band where
So
they
like,
have,
sound engineering is always evolving. So we would have times where things we would have learned in the past does not hold relevance today. Like I was teaching a class the other day and I was talking about microphones. And they were reading from our sound engineering book that says small diaphragm microphones are not good for things like floor toms. Right? That was a rule, long time. Now I could pull a microphone that is this big that is recommended for a floor tom. Because when that book was written, these things didn't exist. So that book was written probably in 1980 something.
That was analog times.
Yeah, well, not even analog, the technology did not exist.
Yeah.
So the type of microphone didn't exist back in those days. So you used to have to use big condenser microphones on things like kick drum and things like that. Now you're seeing where technology has changed. So the literature of the past does not exist today.
Okay.
Because of technology has changed. And things that we were doing in the past are not only Trinidad and international standards, now you get to realize, hey, that was completely wrong. But at the time, it was the best thing to do, and it's as much as we knew and understood. But now that technology's changed, certain things have to change, including mixing techniques. So things we would have done on mixing boards a long time, they realize now, okay, that's not the right thing to do. I get a better sound if I do this, or if I do that, you know, because understandings have changed.
Now you think that most engineers should be certified after they do their because we have a lot of uncertified engineers that is doing extremely great so far. Like yourself, you certified?
My only certification is from the ministry when I did the course.
But that is a practical.
Yeah, but you see what happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
The certificates, yes, could get you a long way in terms of if you get a job with an international artist, you can produce certificates to say I went to this school, I went to that school. But sound engineering is one of these things that in the field counts for a lot more than the paperwork.
Because because technology always changes.
Yeah. And not only that, remember when I'm in a classroom, there's only so much things I can show you. But you still have to come to the real world to put it into practice.
Because a different venue have a different frequencies.
So I might tell you this is the way to EQ a kick drum. But then you go on the next venue, EQ the kick drum like that to do sound good.
It sound different.
And you have to be able to adapt and know, okay, now I need to change, I need to do this, I need to do that. And classroom can't teach you that. That you have to learn how to do. So don't get me wrong, it is very good to have your paperwork. Because I know when things settle down, I want to go and do some courses to have the paperwork to go alongside with what I do.
Right.
But the reality of it is I just have 20-something years of experience at a top level.
According to what you just say and what I just say, right? There's common sense make book.
Yeah.
And experience is what
What
create
counts,
the,
yeah.
we'll create the, is what create the school, schools.
Yeah.
And it can't be the experience.
No.
It can't. Because, for example, right, I still learning this little thing, little by little, but it take me a month to learn that board.
Mm.
And it take me 1 day to learn this.
Mm.
Right? Because I learned that.
Yeah.
I figure out this faster.
Yeah.
It take me 8 years on an analog video switcher.
Mm.
And it take me 1 day to figure out that digital
Yeah.
switcher, right? So it come like, as I was saying, experience.
Mm.
And as I said, you don't get those experience when you're doing in school
No.
to get the certificate. The certificate don't give you the experience, just
No.
give you a practical. We're going to be right back after these messages with Table Talk with Navin with our guest Randall Ford. We will be right back.
Sound Visual Concepts prioritizes delivering top-tier entertainment and informative experiences globally. Their dedicated mission aims to create an inclusive platform for a diverse audience. The focus remains on engaging with viewers and listeners, ensuring their satisfaction. Sound Visual Concepts values audience feedback and incorporates it into their content development. Viewers and listeners are at the core of all decision-making at Sound Visual Concepts. Their approach revolves around delivering top-notch content across various platforms. Sound Visual Concepts, your online high-quality entertainment television station.
Hi, welcome back to SVC Media Table Talk with Navin with Randall Ford. We have a little short time remaining here, so we want to come to the closing point of this interview. And everybody will be looking at this program is that, let me tell you all something. Take an example of myself and Base God, or we know him as Chunky and Randall. And I'm giving out advice to parents who will teach their children. Yes, they will be learning to do something. You want to push them to go and do a course. Don't let them give up. Let them go there and get the experience. While you're doing a course, they can get the experience out there because it takes Randall a course to get a certificate, but for him to master and to reach where he is today, it takes him experience, and it's only field experience, and that is my advice.
I'll talk about that just in closing. Now, what took me 20-something years to learn, for somebody now, it should not take them that long. Reason being, when I started, I didn't have access to the internet. I didn't have a computer.
We didn't have a phone.
We didn't even have smartphones.
No.
Yeah, that's a testimony to how old we are.
Yeah.
But we didn't have smartphones. You're literally walking around with a computer in your hand right now.
Yes.
Right? So I had to learn things by literally doing it. Now, there are all these mixing boards have what they call offline editors, where you could go and learn the mixing board without even seeing it.
Yeah.
Now, when you come to the board now, you just have to remember what you learn and look for where certain things are placed on the console itself.
Well, I different. I just remember when I doing hands-on.
No, but the editor is as close to hands-on as you could get right now.
Uh-huh.
So once you go through that editor, you could literally build a whole file on that editor, put it on a flash drive, and come and dump it in the console, and you have a start. All you have to do when you see the console now is just look at where certain things are placed. You already saw it on the editor and you know what its function is. All you have to do on the board now is look at where it's placed. So you know, okay, I need to get to this here, that is that knob here. I need to get to that is that knob there. Mm-hmm. We didn't have that back in the past. So we had to learn the long and the hard way. Right? So it shouldn't take somebody now, 20-something years, to learn sound engineering. You ain't going to be an expert at it in 4 years, but you should have a faster development than people of my era did.
Due to the new technology.
Due to the technology you have now. You know? Mm-hmm. There are a lot of engineers now who will share their secrets. Back in the days, unfortunately, that wasn't the case. You know, I remember it at certain times I asked engineers what this is for, and they told me that have nothing to do with you. Right? So now you will get men a lot more willing to share their secrets. And not their secrets, just share information on the whole,
Because they realize they get more wise now, you see.
Yeah, and you can't take the information with you,
And they share it.
And part of the thing I want people to understand is that if you want to come into sound engineering, do not tell yourself that I'm coming to operate a mixing board. Start from the start and learn.
Learn to run your
and
cables. Learn to mic your, how to use the position of your
Right.
mics, yeah.
So that people will come and they will jump on a board to mix, and they can't even mic up a drum kit properly. Not saying you don't have to play. I mean, if you can play an instrument, it's great.
You know why I laugh? It's because I have the mind to do it. I could do it. But sometimes I just lost the pattern. What the kick is correct. Everybody knows the kick is number one in the channel one.
No, but that's
I just lost that.
No, but that is patching. But when
Yeah.
I say mic up the drums properly, I mean the position of the
Positioning mics.
microphone. Right?
Overhead.
Some people can't mic a drum kit properly. They don't know how to position the mic properly, but they want to jump on a mixing board and start to EQ. How are you EQing something if it's not placed properly? Your most important thing is your source. Right? How I'm speaking to you now, the way people are hearing me,
It's always
because
up to
song
the
is coming out the source,
Yeah.
which is my mouth.
So it's a song natural.
Right. So what we do is song reinforcement. Right? So the source has to be good. So no matter what I'm doing, whether it's a band, whether it's a DJ, from a DJ aspect, if the DJ peaking coming out of his mixer,
That is distortion.
what I can do on a mixing board to solve that? Nothing.
But that way you get in
So
there.
all I will be doing is raising or lowering distortion because the source is coming in distorted. Right? So you have to learn the basics. That people don't know the difference between line and mic. You have to learn the basics. And I talk about people I see in media. Sometimes come for ask for a media feed. And I say, do you want line or mic? And they stand there scratching their head. Because they don't even know. So this is things that people have to learn. You're getting into a field, and it's not only music, and anything that you do. Learn from the start and learn your way up. You cannot be a videographer and just come and jump and want to operate switching boards. And you know nothing about everything that happened in the past.
That's true.
From our days when we came out of analog boards. So most analog boards had one workflow.
Yeah, because I remember when I was in TV6, everything was analog.
Right. So if I put you on a digital now where I could physically switch up the workflow to suit me, how are you going to adapt when you don't even know what the original workflow should have been? Yeah. So it's just that piece of advice. You're getting into it. Understand it is for the long haul. If you're getting into it for the money, when you start, you're gonna make the money. Sorry. Eventually, the money will come.
Yeah.
Once you advance yourself. But if your goal is getting into song engineering because I want to make money, not gonna happen.
It don't work so easy.
Yeah. And I don't think it works with anything.
You
that's
have to work your way
You have
up
to
for
work
it.
your way up there.
Yeah.
Eventually, the money will come.
There's a lot of sacrifice.
A lot of sacrifice. Understand that time. I can't tell you how much years my family having Christmas dinners, and I can't be there. Breakfast is Christmas. Breakfast is again a bit. Breakfast and thing for the family. I can't be there. For all who have boyfriend and girlfriend, half the time when is Valentine's?
You can't be there.
During Carnival.
You're getting home.
During Carnival, where you have to be.
Our next man,
On a
our
job.
next man went up on your
Yes,
job. Why
sir.
you on that job?
You ought to be on a job site.
You play with fate, that's why next man
Yeah.
play with some.
So that's the reality of it. Understand that it's a lot of sacrifice. All Year's night, Christmas night, Boxing night. Our job is, there are people in this country who love to party. That some people have to set up the events in order for you to party.
We are the first to reach and the last to leave.
Isn't
They already know ourselves.
Yeah.
First to reach, last to leave.
Yeah. And we are not important until something goes wrong.
Yeah, they only know us when something happens.
Yeah.
I think people in the whole should give soundmen, engineers, sound companies more respect,
Yeah.
because without them,
We have no event.
they have no event.
Yeah.
And it is and this is what the nations need to understand. Pay what they charge you, what they wanted. What you want,
Yeah, pay for the service.
pay for the service. Don't try to cut and beat down the price, because when you go by courts and they give you a discount, they can't ask for a next discount.
Exactly.
When you go on you're fixing a car by a mechanic and he tell you it's 150 to change the brake pads, boss, I can only get 100. No.
In that aspect now, the some company also have to respect themselves.
Yes.
Because as I say, as a promoter, you are always looking to the profit margin. When I, as the song company, going to tell you, well, here what, a man charge you $10, right? I will charge you $8, and I will throw in 2 generators. And then the next man go and say, well, here what, I will charge you $6, I will throw in 2 generators and toilets. And by the time you're done, the promoter paid $2 and get everything free. Now, when you charge that $2 now, how are you paying your staff?
Exactly my point.
How are you paying your staff?
Because
So-
then they want to pay your staff half the price and supposed to get paid.
So the some companies now cannot want respect when they don't respect themselves.
Yeah.
I can understand how you could go and pay top dollar for your equipment and then charge a price that if one equipment blows, you can't even fix it.
Well, but that happened recently with Edric.
Huh?
You would not rent out a whole set of equipment, the lineries, and all the drivers blew. Now, you even make the money, it costs you over $40,000 to change your drivers. But they didn't charge $40,000 to rent equipment.
No.
And that's what people fail to realize, that it costs money to service and maintenance, and the equipment is expensive. Because when these boxes and subs go out there on a job, is weather it hit it.
Yeah.
Rain, sun, dust. Rain, sun, dust, and drinks.
Yeah.
Because people even the drinks into the boxes, it's spilling and they're going away. When time to maintain these boxes and service them, and you had to buy paint, you had to pay labor, you had to it's a lot of money that they put out to maintain equipment. What about upgrading? People feel them boxes is alright, let's take it for example. An amplifier. Amplifier is not $500-$600. It's not $1,000, it's not $2,000.
Just the other day somebody showed me an amplifier, a power soft amplifier. And the amplifier costs $140,000 TT for one.
What power do I have in it, boy?
The 6-channel amplifier with plenty power. It's like 8,000 watts per channel. But when I buy this amplifier for $140,000, I can't buy one. Of course, I had to buy a set. So let me just say I put out $500,000 and you want to pay me $30,000 to do an event.
How do I pay back for that?
I mean, I'm not trying to make back all the money from one event.
Yeah. What about if something
If
happens?
this amplifier damage, how am I paying back for this amplifier?
How do I cover any cost of my equipment? Maintenance?
I remember a time we were doing an event, and I wouldn't call the promoter's name. That was when I was at Rentamp, and they now got digital amplifiers. And he telling me, he said, boy, this all the pay they sent for me after all the money I pay. So I like, how much money I pay? He said, boy, it's $50,000 I pay. Was a small event that we was doing. So I watch him, I said, $50,000? He said, yeah. I said, come. I say, see that box that hanging up in the air there? I say, how much for one? He said, 13,000 US. For one. I said, how much money you pay? I tell him, I say, see that monitor that the artist like to put a foot on? It's 6,000 US I pay. How much money did you pay? When he realized now, then he like settled down. I was trying to show him you didn't pay no money. This is easily $3.something million in equipment you're watching here, and you pay $50,000. TT. So you need to relax yourself.
You didn't talk about the board yet.
You understand? But you see, the thing is now, they will get on that way because our next man will go and charge them 30. And then our next man will charge them 20. And our next man will charge them
And I
10.
will work with more system.
You understand?
Yeah.
Just to say, I doing the work. It has men will even give away the equipment free of charge. Which means it coming at a cost to them because they still have to pay the driver. They have to pay the men who load up the equipment, whatever, and they're doing it for the promoter free of charge. Just to say, I did that event. So, from the song company aspect, you have no respect for yourself. So, if you have no respect for yourself, you can't expect anybody to respect you.
True. and they will lose respect. They will have
Yeah.
respect. Yeah. Wendell, it was a pleasure having you in the
No problem,
program.
man.
All right, and trust me, I learn a lot.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
viewers learn a lot,
I hope so.
and everybody know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thanks for viewing Table Talk with Navin right here on SVC Media Table Sound Visual Concepts. It was a pleasure having you on the program, Wendell.
Thanks, thank you.
And we will see you next time. Table Talk with Navin. Thank you for watching. See you next time.